Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Text number 13 onwards. Sarva Karmani Manasa Sanyasyaste Sukham Vashi Navadvare Pure Dehi Naiva Kurvanna Karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, neither working nor causing work to be done. Here, the city of 9 gates refers to our body, which has 9 gates, 9 holes, and the embodied living being represents the soul, that means us, who are residing within this city. So, as spiritual being, we have to understand that it's our body which is the result of the 3 modes of nature, which we have acquired from our past choices in the past lives. Essentially, whatever choices we make in the previous lifetimes, accordingly we are given the next body. And the soul, when it gets a particular type of body, is encaged, and it has to act according to the modes of nature or the conditionings controlling that body or related to that body. For example, the soul is spiritual, but when it gets in the body of an insect, it has to behave like insect. It's a punishment for the soul. Similarly, when the body has the soul, the body is in the form of a bird, the soul has to behave like that. But out of all the species of life, only the human species, when the soul gets a human body, it's blessed with the ability to change everything, to rectify all mistakes, all karma, and put an end to the transmigration process from one body to another, from one lifetime to another, from one universe to another. So therefore it is explained human life is the best facility, is the greatest blessing. But after getting a human form of life, if we just continue to create more and more material attachments without paying attention to our spiritual self and putting in effort to end the cycle of birth and death, to end the cycle of transmigration of the soul, so that the soul can regain its original spiritual nature, so that the soul does not, soul means us, we don't have to be bound by any limitations of a particular material body. If we don't use our human life for this purpose, then naturally human being will have to get degraded to these lower species of life. Once a human being doesn't necessarily always be a human being. That's not the case. People may say whatever they want to say, but if a human being does not make self-realization, God realization as the ultimate goal of his life, 200% possibility that the soul will be given some different kind of body where it will have to act according to the limitations of that body, which is a great punishment. So in this verse, Krishna explains how when the person residing within the city of 9 gates, that's the body, understands his own spiritual nature and understand that only the body is acting according to the previous conditionings, nature, 3 modes. So he is mentally detached from the activities of the body and is focused more on higher subject matter, higher goal in life. So even though the body may be engaged, but the soul is neither working nor causing work to be done. It is completely different. So the soul does not get entangled. The body is only active. The soul does not produce any reaction, and the soul resides within the body very happily when it is aloof from the activities of the body. And that is only possible when we realize, introspect, and hear from the scriptures that how we are souls, spiritual beings, separate from the body. So whatever the body goes through, we are not going through that. So therefore, when a person has disease or old age or even dies, the soul will not get anxious. Generally, people get very anxious. So the whole cosmetic industry is flourishing because of fear of old age. So much pharmaceutical industry is flourishing because of fear of disease. And what to speak of death, it marks the end of everything. But when a person understands he is aloof from the body, only the body is going through these six changes. Just hearing this stuff will make us so peaceful. At least the anxiety will reduce by 30%, 40%, sometimes 70%. But it takes some time to realize this. Theoretically, we can all know. But when we apply this knowledge in our life, we incorporate certain spiritual practices in our life, the realization will also come gradually, because without experimentation of the theoretical knowledge, there is no realization, and without realization, there is no faith. So when the embodied living being controls his nature, that means he's not controlled by the modes of nature, the body which is given accordingly, and mentally he is totally detached from the activities of the body. He resides happily in the city of nine gates. Text 14. Na kartritvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. The embodied spirit, master of the city of the body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. As I've already explained this, that we are given a particular type of body because of our previous activities, and that body is supposed to act in a certain way. The soul is just simply watching this happening. Whatever we think, speak, do, the places we like, the food we like and dislike, the type of intelligence, the choices that we make, it's all being enacted on the bodily platform. So this is all under the control of the modes of nature or previous conditionings acquired from the past lives. The soul is totally different from it. Soul is not engaged in these activities, but the soul is made to experience this. And that is because in the previous life we have made certain wrong choices. The very fact that we have a material body is a proof that we are sinful. We have committed sins. Otherwise we would be in our spiritual bodies in the spiritual world. So although human body is the best, still it is not the end. It is the best among 8.4 million species of life, but still it is a prison house for the soul, because we as spirit souls are not able to experience full dependence, full happiness, full bliss, which is our eternal birthright and nature. So we have to understand this without going too much into technicalities, that human life is meant for putting an end to the cycle of birth and death, to become free from the bodily concept of life, to think that I am this body and everything in relation to this body is mine. It is going to cause problems. Actually speaking, we have no relationship with anyone or anything of this world. This is a material world. It has a beginning, it has an end. But on a spiritual platform, we are all related. And only on a spiritual platform there is no separation between the souls, and they stay with each other forever. In the spiritual world there is complete bliss. There's no forgetfulness, there's no old age, there's no disease, there's no death, there's no misery. Eternal blissful life, happiness, which we are always hankering for. It's only possible when we get free from the bodily concept of life, when we put an end to this cycle of transmigration of the soul. Because as long as the soul keeps getting material bodies, it will have to go through material laws, birth, old age, disease, death, and the anxieties associated with that body and the limitations that are binding upon that particular body. Text 15. Nadatte kasyachit papam nacheva sukritam vibhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Embodied being means the soul, who are in a body, they are embodied. So here it is said that even the Supreme Lord is not responsible for the actions that are taking place through the body. The soul is not responsible. In one sense, soul is aloof. Soul has made certain choices. So in one sense, it is responsible. But the Lord is not responsible for anyone's pious or sinful activities, because sometimes people say, why did God do this to me? Why did God let this happen? So please understand, the Lord is not responsible for what we are going through. It is us only. The soul, that means us, we are blessed with the ability to choose. We are blessed with free will. And depending on how we use or misuse our free will, we are rewarded or punished in future. We are given a body accordingly. So the Lord is not responsible. The soul, us, we have the ability to desire using our free will. But we have to also understand we do not have the ability to fulfill that desire. The Lord, who is situated as Paramatma in our heart, He has to sanction that desire. And then the material nature, this world, the universe which the Lord has created with its various energies, it facilitates the fulfillment of that desire. So unless the Lord sanctions and He facilitates through the material nature, we do not have the ability to do what we want to do. We cannot even blink an eye without His sanction. Without His sanction, we cannot even digest our food. We cannot even move our eyelids. We cannot move our hands. There are presiding deities in charge of all these activities. So depending on what desires we have, we get a particular reward or punishment in future. So it is us only who are responsible for what is happening in our life, whether good or bad, in one sense. The Lord is simply like a neutral witness. He awards or rewards according to our activities. But without His sanction, without His intervention, we cannot accomplish what we want. So considering this, we must always be very grateful to Him for whatever we have achieved in our life. So even if we think, oh, I desired it, so I got it, but you don't have any power to fulfill that desire. The Lord had to get involved. He sanctions, and then through the material nature, He facilitates, like a loving father, fulfillment of our desires. So at every moment we should be very, very grateful to the Lord. Keep thanking Him as much as possible without getting carried away. So whether we are going through some stressful situation, it is the result of our own karma. And whether we are going through a happy situation is the result of our good karma. But in both the cases, choice is ours. And so therefore we are going through what we are going through. And when it comes to good, the Lord is sanctioning. That's why we are able to accomplish it. So to think that I did it, it's a sign of sheer arrogance. Where does your body come from? Where does your intelligence come from? Where does that system come from? Where you do something and then you will be rewarded. What if the Lord does not reward at all? We can't do anything. We can't force Him to do anything. He is supremely independent. So what the Gita teaches is the change in consciousness from being I, me and mine to it's His grace. Always remembering this. So we are not able to accomplish anything without His sanction and without Him facilitating the fulfillment of our desires. So we have to always remember this. But those people who are in ignorance, they cannot understand this, that how the Lord is sanctioning and facilitating. He cannot understand his own spiritual nature. He cannot understand the Lord's supreme position. So the Lord is the closest to our heart. We have to know that. Super soul, Paramatma. He is literally present in everyone's heart. He is the constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma, and therefore He can understand the desires of the individual soul. Just like one can smell the flower or the flavor of a flower by being near it. Similarly, the Lord is closest, so immediately He can understand our desires and then He creates facilities. He is neutral. Whatever we desire, we will get as a reward or punishment. So therefore, we have to watch our desires. So desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity, and the Lord fulfills His desires as He deserves. As they say, man proposes and God disposes. So the individual is not therefore omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute living entities like us. He will never interfere in our desires. However, we have to remember, one of the greatest anxiety of the Lord is that He wants us back to Him. We might not know, but He knows that we can only be happy when we are in union with Him, when we are in touch with Him, when we are connected to Him. So therefore He takes such desires very, very seriously. When one desires Him, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way further that one can attain to Him and be eternally happy. So there is a saying in the Vedas which says, Esha hui eva sadhu karma karyati tamyam ebhyo lokebhyo unninishyate. Esha hu eva sadhu karma karyati yam adho ninishyate. The Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so that he may be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so that he may go to hell. Now, this may be misinterpreted. Oh, the Lord is only doing it. No. What it means is, the Lord has given everyone free will and they want to engage in some pious work. Okay, the Lord creates facilities. That's the meaning that He engages. If somebody wants to engage in impious work, okay, the Lord sanctions that. Do it, if that's your desire, and then suffer. So this is from Kaushitaki Upanishad. Further, even in Mahabharata it is mentioned, Vanaparva 31.27, Agya jantur anishvayam atmanah sukha dukkhayoh ishvara prerito gacchit swargam vashva abharam evacha. The living entity is completely dependent in his distress and happiness. That means it is the sanction coming from the Lord as per our desire that helps us accomplish whatever we desire, happiness or distress, pious or impious activity. By the will of the Supreme, he can go to heaven or hell as a cloud is driven by the air. So therefore, it is said that the soul, by his own desire to avoid Krishna, avoid God consciousness, causes his own entanglement, own bewilderment. Whenever we try to live a life independent of God, there will be entanglement in the laws of karma, there will be punishment, there will be suffering. Due to the insignificant existence of the living entity forgets his constitutional position of being an eternal servant of God, and thus he gets trapped by nescience or karmic situations. And only due to ignorance, the living entity, the soul, us, claim that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. Only out of ajnana, we think the Lord is responsible for what we are going through, but it's not true. It is explained in the Vedanta Sutra 2.1.34, Vaishamya nirgrihanyane sapekshatvat tatha hi darshayati. The Lord neither hates nor likes anyone, though he appears to. He simply rewards according to our desire. That's it. So the Lord is very, very kind. Whatever we desire from Him, He is very happy to reward us. So we have to desire carefully, watch our desires. And that is what the path of Gita is. That is the path of Bhagavad Gita or spiritual life is. We don't have to give up our desires. We simply have to learn to purify our desires so that we don't suffer in future. We have to learn to desire properly so that we can get the highest rewards from the Lord. Hare Krishna.